Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. All these things. I don't understand why they have all these things. All these things on the screen. Yeah. Okay. All right. Believe it or not, I'm actually running behind. Who knew? Who knew? Good. Was it afternoon? It's afternoon. It's afternoon now. I'm waiting for Erica. Um, and I had no intentions on bringing anything today, but Erica said that she was bringing good afternoon. Hello, is that Butterfinger? Hello to you. I had no intentions on bringing anything. Oh, well, Erica's here. Hello, Erica. I'm gonna let you request to join because I know the last time we did this. Let's see here. We had some. We did it. We had issues, so I was like, I'm gonna let Erica request to join this time around. All right. I'm hitting it. There we go. I don't know. Like, we are tech savvy. I know what I'm saying. I don't think it's us. But you know what? So I gave in to the peer pressure because I said, you know what? I'm just going to do a little glass of sparkling coconut water. Let me not do anything. It's 12 o'clock. I got things to do. And then Eric's like, I'm bringing my wine. I was like, well, let me go get me something. It doesn't take much, right? We're like, oh my God, peer pressure. So I'm opening up. I'm doing, what's always good no matter what time it is? Sparkling wine or champagne. It's always good. Always. You can't go wrong there. And I've got one. You ever heard of Mimosa? You ever heard of them? They're a Black-owned company. They have this one literally called Bubbles, and it tastes like pineapple and orange, like the mixture, which is a really great mixture, by the way. So I said, well, it's a good time for pineapples and oranges, so let me put that on ice and let us get into it. So thank you for coming back, Erica. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know we were talking about, just 2 weeks ago, because of spring break last week, and everybody was kind of doing their spring break thing. But we were talking about, and I appreciate you adding into this phrase, quality photography. That was our discussion 2 weeks ago, and we ran out of time because we had so much on the list. I told you, this hour goes by so fast. But this week, we wanted to continue talking about that, but then also speaking about operating a portrait business and being a Black woman photographer.
Yes.
Where do you want to start? I'm going to follow your lead.
Okay. I don't know. I say start with just operating a business and the understanding. Because,
Yes.
then you can lead into the understanding of being a Black woman.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go with that. So let's talk about operating a portrait business. Now, how long have you been in business? How long have you had your photography studio?
I started shooting. I started operating a camera when I was 6, but I did it all through high school, and then I went to college. So after I graduated, I went ahead and started my company, which was 2002.
Nice. Oh, okay, big baller. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, too, though.
You know what? It's kind of funny. Like when I talk to a lot of photographers, a lot of us received a camera as a gift somewhere in our childhood, and we just stuck with it. It's funny. I didn't move the room around on purpose. I am spring cleaning. Okay. And y'all don't want to see what's going on behind this camera. But it just so happens I'm in the back corner with literally all my albums and negatives, because Gwendolyn still believes in that thing.
Yes, I have to partner, so
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we had to get it. So you started in 2002, and clearly you're not in the same place you were then. How has your voice changed in terms of how you photograph people and share their story? How has that changed? And has it followed? I know, just like, it's just too hard. Hold on. And has it changed as you have evolved as a person?
I think it has a little bit. I think more so how I operate my business has changed. Because I was always a pretty this is what I like, this is what I do. Like, I was a person who went to college not knowing, like, I knew what I wanted to do. Like, I knew I wanted to make moves. I actually they're mowing the grass across the street. It's super loud.
You gotta love it. People have to mow their lawn, okay? Now, didn't it rain this morning? Like, isn't it wet?
It's the HOA, actually. It's not even a homeowner. It's just a HOA mowing this fake garden they have across the street.
Okay. So I know it's storm this morning.
But no, I went to school knowing exactly what I wanted to do. I went and I was originally a film major, and I knew I wanted to make movies. And when I transferred schools, I went to Stephen F. Austin and then Texas State now. When I transferred schools, they didn't have film in the art department, so I just minored in a couple of other stuff. But I don't think it's changed so much. I think so much is like business, because a lot of times you go to these art schools and they don't teach you the business end of it. So you have to develop a completely different personality and like towards your business, because you have to remember you're still in business to make money at the end of the day. That's why people do a business. If not, I'd just be a charitable person, you know.
Well, that's the whole thing of starving artists, you know, the whole thing of, you can't make money selling art. It's like, but yet people are selling art for like a cajillion dollars. So how is it that we can't make money? That doesn't make sense. But you are correct. A lot of places, a lot of creatives, we have the artistic mindset and we are so attached to our art, but we forget that you have to make money off of that, and that there's this whole other brain that you have to use. Or if you don't have it, find somebody who has that knowledge to help you make sure that you're getting what needs to be in your pocket to make your wheels and things turn. Keep these lights on. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, eat.
So I know, it's like we have to eat. We have to eat and buy wine. So come on. We have serious needs here. So when you talk about change of business, now I know I started out as a shoot and burner, right? Where I was doing the most for the least. I didn't know any better. I honestly did not know any better. I thought I was in that mindset of, if I come in nice and low, then everybody will hire me. And the way that consumer brains work, that is not the case. How did you start?
I wasn't necessarily a shoot and burner because I had negatives. So you weren't giving those out at first. But so in 2002, I got a digital camera, and that's when it all started. I think digital just set off the shoot and burn like crazy. Because before then, you had to scan your negatives and then give them. It was like a lot of work. No one was doing all that. They would just here's your prints, and you just go. I was still dropping off my film at Eckert's. Yes, I said Eckert's.
I love Eckert's. I love Eckert's. I'm going to put this out there. I have one of their photo sleeves because my dad had one. I thought I'm going to save it. It's in an archival case because I have that in Fox Photo because I want to remember these moments.
Yes.
The 1 hour photo booth. I want to remember these memories. And like, who is Eckert's? Let me tell you real quick. I think it was like a Walgreens or CVS, but they did do the film development. Right. So as you have progressed and you've learned, what has changed in how you operate your business?
I think the main thing is like how I offer and understanding exactly what I'm offering to people and getting them to understand what they want from me as the main things. Like a lot of times you start off in photography and you're just like, oh, I'll do it, I'll shoot it. And you don't realize that how much work is either involved in it or what the actual process is, or maybe the client that's not even what they needed, you know? So I feel like it's our job to get down to the root of what the client actually needs. And that has progressed as I've gotten further along in my years of being in business.
When did you know that you weren't for everybody? Because like you said, people think you're a photographer, you must do all these things. It's like, that's a no. And I have to tell you, I tried to do babies. Babies is not my ministry. The newborns are not. I'm an auntie with no kids. All right. So I am good with the little ones. I'm good with the 2 to 3 and up. because they can manage, and these little ones are not the same as when I was a little one. Like these are some different little ones. But that's not where I thrive. So you have to learn real quick that you cannot be everything for everyone.
Yeah.
And have to know like where you really thrive. Now there is one photographer, I don't know if anybody knows about Tony Shaw. I think she is the most amazing multi-genre photographer I've ever seen. Like that woman does it all and she does it extremely well. So props to her. Love it. Me, myself, I'm like, I don't know. No, I don't have the patience. I'm not going to lie like that. I know I don't have the patience. So when did you know who your target client was and how did you fine tune that as you progressed?
Ooh, I'd say really, I'm still fine tuning it, honestly,
Oh.
because I can shoot a lot of stuff. So, and that's probably why my business is based on the style and not like the genre,
Okay.
because I only do like these particular styles, not just like, you know, but there are genres I don't touch. Like I'm good on weddings. I mean, if you got a courthouse wedding and it's like 50 people and you want somebody, that's a lifestyle shoot, I'll come out and do it. But if you got a big production, you got 200, you got 30 bridesmaids and you want to, nope, not for me.
No. It's work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's
a lot of
everything.
I don't know if no, I mean somewhere in the back of my head, because you know I love the People's Court, and I like all the little court shows. You know, when I was growing up, it was like, oh, it's time for so and so, and so every time I turned on the People's Court, there was some photographer in court attached to a wedding that they ruined. And so for me, you know, just subconsciously, it was like, I'm not going to shoot weddings because they're always in court.
Judge Judy, who was in Round Rock, Texas, and
Really?
she shot somebody, and her contract was spot on. And Judy did not give her that money.
Really?
I will find that clip and send it to you. Yeah, I remember I recorded it. I was like, what? No way. Nope, never gave it to her. So yeah, there's a lot of.
There are just certain ones.
Where they did that. It was a graduation where they didn't give the girl wanted a book or something, and ladies said it was a bait and switch. I don't know. It was a lot of complaints. Speaking of bait and switch, let me tell you, or let's talk about this, okay? So I have this thing called on the menu and off menu. Okay. Because I don't know about you, but there are requests. Like I do custom styled photo shoots, and then I have like packages. Like people will see particulars, like, hey, you get X, Y, and Z. And do you do any kind of like super customized packages for people before I go into this rant?
Super custom. The only super custom thing we do is like traveling to a different location. Like there is, hey, I want to be at the park. And then here, there is, I'm going to be at so-and-so state, blah, blah, blah. And it's like you have to bring a great deal of stuff to make that happen. That's not extreme as it gets. Now, there have been some other requests for stuff, and it's like, that's not what Gwendolyn does.
Right.
That's not what we do. Like, Gwendolyn doesn't do these, can you make a deal where so-and-so is flying here? That's a composite. I don't do composites. Right? Like I don't. Could I hire someone? Yeah, but I'm not even trying to. It's like no. So I don't have that. But like I love on location things. Love it. I love to be in the desert, the woods, all those weird places. But that's not like really promoted. Is hidden in there. Like if you want to go out of state, we can do it, but you gotta pay for that. So yeah.
But when
you have some off-menu things, yeah.
But when you get those requests to like do composites, I mean, so how do you explain that to the person that this is not what you do?
The way that I talk about it is I do give them a little bit of, I don't use a lot of photography jargon because it's like, what's the point of going way over here, right?
Right.
But I do explain, it's like, okay, so you are asking me to now build a photo. And building a photo requires more time and more this and more that, and it's not going to be what's normally priced here. It is a special something made for you, which is now this price. and it changed the conversation. Because a lot of folks see these things. What's the one where you have a loved one who has passed on and they want to, like in the clouds, what have you, or you want to add them into the, it's in my opinion, I would say it's a simple composite. Could be wrong because I don't do them. I would say that's a simple composite, but that still takes time to do all of that. Like you have to pay for someone to get that in. If the image is not quite right, you may have to work on getting that image to get right to be put in this other image. So I give them a good idea of how much it could cost if I was to like hire somebody out to do it. But I just explain it's like, you want me to build something. Building something is different. That's not like, it's not on my menu. It's nowhere on my website. Right. There are no images of it. You are asking for stuff that I don't even do. So now you're asking for something that is special and non-refundable.
That's right. That's right. And there's only a limited number of revisions that you get.
Yeah.
Like, this is not an all-day 6-month process. You get 1, 2, and then we're done. That's so I describe that as on menu and off menu. Okay. So let's say you go to a restaurant, right? And there's substitutions. This is the best way to put it. You go to the restaurant and you want to order, they have chicken, steak, and chicken comes with fries and steak comes with potatoes, right? Okay. So you can substitute one or the other for, let's say you got the chicken and you want potatoes. That's a substitution. In our field, it'd be like, oh, well, here's my package. You get so many pictures and an album of this, right? But maybe you don't want an album. Maybe you want a book or folio box or whatever. That is a substitution because those products are on my menu, just like that. Now, if you walk in my restaurant and you get chicken or steak and you ask me for lobster, that's off the menu request. And that's going to cost you some money.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I feel like sometimes it's hard for clients to comprehend when we do this. Like, you don't shoot babies. If you come to Gwendolyn and ask her to shoot your baby, that's off her menu. So for her to shoot that, she's going to charge you her off menu. She has to go and get all these things and acquire these skills or practice all this other stuff. And it just may be better for you to go someplace else that actually does this. But if you want her to do it, it's off menu. It's going to cost you off menu pricing. So that is my on menu and off menu. And I try to explain it to people that, and it's hard when you have multiple skills. Because I do. I'm very well trained in Photoshop and lighting and just camera lenses, like all that. I understand all that. Very well trained. But I only want to provide so much because I have a business model, and this is how I can keep repeating and understand what my business is doing and how it's grossing and everything else. But
that's a great point. I like how you said that. Because when people say, "Can you take a picture of XYZ?" Like, I did some events. I can do events. Do I want to do events more than other things? Not necessarily. So it's like I can do them, but you got to think when you go to a photographer's website or social media page, you kind of get an idea as to what they do and enjoy and specialize in by what you see. And if you don't see what you want there, then you may think, okay, maybe this isn't the right photographer for this. Or it could be, but it may, like you say, it may cost you a little bit more to get them to do that particular job.
That's right. And if you want that photographer, you should book that photographer for their style. And so, if they tell you, hey, I'm glad you like my style, it's not on my menu, accept it, move on, or pay their fees for it because it costs everybody.
It most certainly does. Lord knows it does. It's I don't know. I haven't figured it out. Like, I keep going back to this place of why photographers are seen as just anybody can do it. I understand that the tools to do it are available, right? You got your cell phone and anything else, right? But there is work involved. And we talked about last time, there is science involved with these lights and things of that nature. It's not just I woke up, I took a picture, and now you have them. It's like there's work. There's
Right.
work that goes into getting all of that stuff to look good. And
Exactly. Just
funny
like
enough, we
being
were
a chef, right? There's a chef. You
yes,
have to understand how the food goes away. The salts and all the, sweet, salt,
yes,
acid, all that. I
savory,
don't know. I'm watching stuff.
acid,
But
fat, yes,
you gotta understand all that to make a dish, to make the taste. And so,
yeah.
yeah, I can go in my kitchen right now and cook breakfast. The same thing. It's the off menu.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta go to the store and find all these magical ingredients and understand how they go together and do all this stuff.
You do have to know some things about that.
I understand mixology.
Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let me keep going there because we talked about business model, right? We talked about doing the off menu things and people just really thinking about, okay, if I'm going to ask them to do X, Y, Z, what does that look like? And let's just say this, composites are not, if you have to build a photo, that takes time. That is time, and time is always and will always be money. It will always be money. My cousin is a nail stylist, designer in Atlanta, and she always says, she's like, when people come in and they have these images of the nail designs they saw on Pinterest, understand those are $3 and $4 designs, $4 sign designs, right? If you don't want to pay that, then you shouldn't ask for, right? Because there's a lot of work that goes into just doing that. People think it's just painting your nails. But if that's the case, when you could have gone to the house and got some Revlon, some Sally Hansen, and been done, right? Like that is not how that works. So when you are building a photo, building a set, gathering props and all this stuff, that is time. And the time goes into what you're paying for.
You talked about composites, so I have not posted a lot lately because I've been trying to organize my photos. I have the photos that I can post. I just haven't done it. But I was cleaning out my NAS drive and I ran across this one photo and I posted it today on my Instagram. And that is a composite.
That is the cutest thing. I was like, see, that's Erica. Erica does stuff like that.
Yeah, you know what? Let me tell you, Erica didn't want to do that, okay? That was an off-menu item.
It's beautiful, though.
But see, so when we shot that, what people don't understand about composites is that your lighting has to match. Mm-hmm. So I shot that for a completely different picture. It's all like straight in the back, just like a blue background or something. So I had to take this baby out and put him in here. I actually had to go through in Photoshop and change the lighting on the baby and shade the baby to match this because it wasn't like I didn't shoot it for that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not as easy as what.
No, it's not. That's probably why I don't do it because I'm a high functioning slacker. I'm going to go ahead and call it. People are like, but you've done so well in life. Yeah, but I know where I don't want to do well. So it's like, I'm not going to go down that road. There's a part of me that's like high achiever, then that's enough. That's enough. Yeah. But yeah, composites do take some time and money. It's just like, I don't see the point of that. But let's talk about money because I do believe that being a Black woman photographer, I do, in my opinion, some of the interactions I have had, I have to believe that my gender impacts how customers approach me.
I do too.
And I'm going to say both men and women. I'm not going to say it's just men. Yep. Both men and women. I do believe that has. So this past year, it's like December. December was I don't know if it's just because it's the holidays and everybody gets kind of out of pocket because it's the holidays and they're like stressed out, but it's the same holidays every year. So like you just plan for that stuff in July, you ain't got to worry about it in December, but whatever. But I had a couple of customers that some of the questions and the comments made were just, with some really snide remarks. And it was almost to the point of questioning whether or not I was skilled enough to do the job, that what they paid for, would it be good? Was I a scam artist? I literally had that said to me. And so I thought to myself, if this was a guy, would you have said the same thing? Like, would you even go there? So do you find yourself having to, not that you have to prove that you're worth it, but do you feel that there's this sort of underlying current where people are testing you to see if
I
you're
would
worth the
say
dollars that you're asking for?
yes, especially on the testing. Because I feel like I get a lot of these expectations that I can bend my rules for them, that they are special. Because and you're right. Like I talk to male photographers, non-black photographers, non-black male photographers, and they don't get that as much. Most of the time it's like here they present it and it's seen as yes, and people take it and they go. Whereas black women photographers, I feel like the people try to control their business more and tell them how it should be ran. No, it should be not do this. I've gotten people who want me to just give away prints, and like we were having a discussion with my husband for a $10 print, right? Oh, I'm sorry, a $10 image, and I've had people tell me like, oh, well, my brother can print that, or I can just take it to Costco and get it print. No, you can't take this image to Costco. Yeah. You can take your cell phone image to Costco, but you're not taking this one. But if you want this one, you're gonna pay me for it. But it's funny to me because I'm like, damn, like they're like expecting like $10. I'm like, I paid $8 for a cup of coffee the other day.
And you want me and all my work for $10.
Deposit. So I mean, it's just interesting how the treatment, even among Black people with Black photographers, especially Black women photographers, is like just amazing how much they just want to, like, I've experienced this, that people just want to tell us how we should be doing our business.
Yeah, I get up every morning and I say my prayers, right? I say my prayers just because I got up another morning, right? And then when it's depending on who I'm dealing with. Now, I will tell you this, my father has always said all money is not good money. And I do believe that. And one of my acts of self-love is saying no. I don't say yes to everything. If the energy is not there, I don't say yes. And sometimes that other part of me says, you know what, this lady is great. Like, this should be good. Like, get with it. And then her partner comes in. I'm like, if I had felt that energy first, we wouldn't be here today. We would not be here. So I have had some customers who literally, and in this regard, I'm going to go with the gender first. I have had the gender be sort of tossed in my face that if whoever is making a decision in that moment doesn't like the answer that's coming down the pipeline, they will bring in the male to say, you have to deal with this person in order to get paid for blah, blah, blah. I've gotten my husband wants you to call him. I've gotten my husband has to do this, or I am so-and-so's husband. I'm here to resolve any issues. It's like, there are no issues here, like how I run my business, But the fact that there's this idea that I'm going to bring in a man to tell this woman what to do, I'm thinking, I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go down, because these are some set in stone things here. This is not about gender. It's not about gender. Yeah. But the fact that we have this idea that this is what it has to be. I mean, like, I'm thinking about some of the presentation sessions I've had, and I love my presentation sessions. They're so much fun. Every now and then they don't go the way that I like them to go. But literally, I had a guy say, wow, these are really nice. I'm surprised. And I was like, why would you be surprised? Like, I mean, like, it's the thing that people say to you, and they say it so off the cuff. Like, I had a gentleman who was in my house, because I do a lot of them in my home, and he was throwing 5,000 questions at me just to ask questions. Not that he really wanted to know, not that he was really trying to get educated. It was just to kind of see about, like, if I knew what I was talking about, if I was legit. And I thought, what?
Wait, this was after he had already booked, though. Like, this is during the session.
Yeah.
These are all questions that should have been asked prior if it was about the business. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. This is now the presentation session, which, like, when we do these conversations, I always ask, who are the decision makers, because you and your partner needs to be on the same page before you come to me. Right? Like, what I don't do is I don't get in between relationships. I am not that person. If you and your spouse, your partner, your boo, your babe, whatever, if y'all not meeting like here, I don't get into that. Like, that's nothing to do with me.
Hey, that's why I run an archival fee. If you really, really can't decide, you can pay me my archival fee. We can put it away. You're also going to pay for another session for a review slot, because that's my time. But yeah, we can put it away. You got 1 year, and we can come back to it. But I'm with you. It's not our job to mediate relationship issues on spending and budget. Like, that's not.
So let's go to race and ethnicity. Let's go there then, because when we ask for our money, and I am sure you have seen it. I'm sure people who are tuned in with us have seen it. But we've had it where you can ask for XYZ dollars, and someone says, "Oh my God, it's just too much," and then you happen because these photography circles are not that big. They're really not that big, right? And then you see that they hired blah blah and blah. You're thinking, now they charged you a whole 3 times more than I was going to charge you. How is that even possible? And it's something that I don't know, we have to unlearn it, but we know from the past 2 years, right, that there has been more attention put on supporting Black businesses and keeping our Black dollars in our community and what have you, and just really getting beyond if it's a Black-owned business, the product, the service, and everything should be cheap and it's less than, right? That stereotype is still very much out there. I know I have to deal with it on a daily basis. What about you?
Absolutely. It's funny. I love comparisons, obviously, but I was talking to my husband, and we were watching Blackish, right? And they were talking about schools, and I found it interesting that every time they would speak of schools, they would put Stanford right up with Howard, and they gave it the same level. Even Bel Air did it recently. You ever seen that show, the new Bel Air show? It's really good.
I don't sit down for TV. You know that.
I'm not making movies. But yeah, the kids were deciding on schools, and like they put Howard on the same level. And I was like, wow. I said, they're doing this on purpose to let people know, give them the same status. Like these are equal, guys, because you're right. Like, and that's how it is being a Black woman business owner, is that it's not on the same level. Like in a lot of people's eyes, it's like, you just got to prove that much more. And I think the more focus is on Black businesses, I do question though, like how much of it is legit and how much of it is gonna fizzle out real quick. Like, I think in sports they're making people hire assistant coach be part of like either ethnic or
I think that was what, yesterday?
Something. Yeah. And the thing was in hopes that they could get more head coaches qualified to be head coaches by being like I don't know. I don't do sports, and I'm like, I mean, is that really going to work? Is this really so?
But even that in itself is even that to say like, well, if you can be second in command, then you'll just be more qualified. It's like, but I can come out the gate qualified.
Right. So the question is, do you ride that wave or not? Like, I feel like it's a wave. I'm going to call a spade a spade. I feel like it's a wave. So do you ride that wave or do you not get on it? So as you were asking with being a Black photographer, you're right. It's been featured more. I know there's several camera brands that have been really pushing it pretty hard. I know Sony pushed pretty hard a while back, and they've given it to certain people. Some of them are questioned, but it's just like, but do you jump on it or do you say like, this don't smell 100% right on some of the ones that do. What do you think?
The way that I see it, okay, so let's go back to 2020, right? Because we know that with the death of George Floyd, a lot of it was brought to light that there were clearly some inequalities that have always been, right? So 2022, we finally passed a bill that lynching is now a hate crime. Well, hot damn, it's about goddamn time, but whatever, right? So there was a lot of talk then, right? Everybody got on the bandwagon. And then for those who were true to it, you still see them doing what they said they would do 2 years later. Okay? And the idea isn't like all things isn't equal. Fair isn't equal. I've always heard that, but it's about equity, right? It's about giving people the opportunity. It's a hard one to play. Do I think that we should jump on that and take advantage of it and be in it? Part of me says yes.
Yeah.
The opportunity is there. It's going to take so much more than just XYZ company saying, hey, I am now supporting Black photographers, Black women photographers, and things of that nature. It's going to take so much more than that because humans are biased animals, hands down. And you can have every person in this world do this bias training, right? And at the end of the day, it's still within their heart. Like before I left the corporate world, we did bias training. And I will tell you, I went into a store. I got profiles in my own goddamn store. I got profiles. I said to myself, I know this chick is not following me. Like, I know she's not following me. Keep in mind, part of my job was to receive complaints about behaviors in the store that were seen as like racially motivated and say, hey, XYZ customer came into your store, felt they were profiled, treated unfairly, blah, blah, blah. I need to go out and talk to them. Like, oh, yeah, it's got to be a miscommunication. So here I am in the goddamn store. And this chick is following me. I said, I know good and goddamn well this shit's not happening right now. Like, I know it's not happening. But this is where we are. You can do a lot of bias training. You can put up 5,000 ads about we support Black people, so on and so forth. There's so much work to be done in here. That is just the first step. So in those regards, for the first step, I say we take it and take advantage of it. Because there may be people that you truly convert when they're like, oh, holy stuff, this actually is really, really good. Like I know Target has picked up a lot of Black-owned businesses and put that product in their store. So you have this huge advantage of catching crowds that you probably would not have caught before. Yeah. There are a lot of organizations that are doing more things. So even some trainings are biased. Yes, even the training is biased, girl. You know, that's a whole nother conversation. We need to do another part 3 or something because man, we should even talk about like, and I hate to say this, I loved my job. I did it for 25 years. I always had plans to leave. But the fact that you do have so many Black women, if you check the statistics on small businesses being created, a lot of it was done by Black women leaving that because we're sick of the microaggressions, the macroaggressions, and the foolishness. It's like, then you do your own thing. So it's so hard to operate.
How do you handle that in your own business?
The idea of being a Black-owned
inquiry, and you can tell that they're going extra like the guy, but just because you were a Black woman. How do you handle that situation?
In terms of like how to respond to the comments and things made or the behavior?
In the like the behavior. Like the guy who was quizzing you 101 questions that he didn't even know the answers to. Just because.
I kid you, I before I started that presentation session, I said a prayer. I kid you not. I prayed for patience. I did. Because this is somebody who looked like me, and treated me less than. And it could have been straight gender. I mean, like, you guys think, like, we are dealing with gender biases, and then we're dealing with, like, our race as well. So I'm thinking in that regard, it was this gender bias because he was like, I am the man and I know these things and da-da-da. And it's like, but that's great, but this is my business and this is how I run my business and these are my prices. So If you have not really dug deep into buying quality photography, then your idea of, well, isn't this just free? It's like, no, that's not free. No, that's not free.
Yep.
That's not free at all. So I literally, I pay for patience, and my husband actually came in later and brought me this big thing of strawberry Dr. Pepper. So that worked out. So that worked out. I was like, let me get a sip of this real quick. But I stayed on course, and it's frustrating. It is frustrating, but those kind of interactions we will have whether we owned a photography business, a clothing store, a restaurant. We would own all of that.
Yeah.
And if you just think about the stereotypes, one, people think our product is less than, that
Yeah.
we are less than, that there's no way we could possibly be worth what we're putting out, and that our service is less than. So like we have all these things that we have to sort of compensate for. But, I go back to what my dad said, all money is not good money. So if you believe that I'm a scam artist, then you probably shouldn't hire me.
Yep.
But your wife felt otherwise. She saw my work. She liked what she saw. She's like, you can definitely do this for my family. I'm going to hire you. But she didn't talk to her husband and, whatever. They still got their product. So all that was still done. But it's a constant thing. And I don't, will we ever be out of it? I don't think so.
No.
And I'm a very positive person. Extremely positive. But, at the end of the day, and I am biased. I am fully aware. I know my biases. I say it all the time. If you are a small business, I'm going to probably more than likely support you. If you are woman owned, I got you. If you are black owned, I got you. And if you're from Houston, I got you. Right? So all those things are already there. They're already there. Whether it's, it's like, oh, small business, great, I'm going to buy something because you're a small business before I go to any other person. So we all have biases. We just need to recognize them and wrap our arms around them. That if it's a bias that is towards hate, I don't know about that. I mean, but everybody has, or somebody. I mean, I thought about this the other day because I'm doing another blog post on it about, being authentic. And I'm going to ask you this too. Being authentic in who you are as a person, and how that can, how does that work with your business? Because you are representing your brands, right? Yeah. And we have seen a number of people, I think about John Gruden and everybody else in his circle, who wears this mask on a daily basis that I'm here for the people, I celebrate diversity. And then when he's in his safe circle, he can say something that probably shouldn't be said. Right? We have seen people who are like neo-Nazis and part of the Ku Klux Klan. You're like, really? That's how you get down? Okay, I can't support you anymore, nor your business. Because that's just not what we do, right? But that's their authentic self. Right. So when you are going through, you as a person, when you're out and about, or your social media pages, do you ever think about how what you do impacts your business?
I used to. And then a while back, I say about this is when Cardi B threw that shoe at, what's the other rapper's name? The one who's talking different tones, Nicki Minaj.
Yes.
Right. And I was like, or maybe Nicki threw it at her. I think Cardi B threw it at her. And I was like, wait a minute, she just threw a shoe at this high-end gala, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So then she gets invited back the next year. And I was like, wait a minute. And then she says all kind of shit. And people are like, oh my God, I love Cardi. She says exactly what's on her mind. And I started thinking, you know what? Fuck this. Sorry. This is me.
And that is Erica's authentic self.
I've always liked my fancy things, and I believe if it's done, it should be done well and right. Yeah. And if I'm going to spend my time doing it, it's going to be something that I would like to put out, and I want whatever I put out to be the best. And this is what you get. And this is how I get that, because I can't make stuff like this without being me. This is it. This is why you booked me. You didn't book me because I threw some paint on the ground and then the finger painted a photo of you. I'm not too. And so either you like it or you don't, and that's just it. And if you don't like it, then Cool. There's a billion other people. There's a billion other rates. And that's it. So I tell people all the time, I Cardi B'd my life a long time ago. A while ago, should I say. And you get what you get. That's it. Now, when it comes to dealing with other photographers, that's where I'm not as whatever. I'm cool because a lot of times being a Black woman, especially being a Black woman first, okay? You get these guys and they always think that you don't know what you're talking about. They want to explain stuff.
They want to mansplain
something. They want to mansplain all the time. So recently I went to this event and we had a shootout thing, like a stage, and each person had a time. Well, this stage was lit so that it was constant lighting, so everybody could shoot. But technically, only one person was to be shooting, right? But if the person's time slot was nice, they let everybody in, right? So it was almost my time to go, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll go." And this girl was standing there. I guess she had enough of the dudes. She was like, "Girl, it's your turn. You could kick them off completely if you want to. You need to tell them to move out of your way." I was being nice, but then they kept like kind of trying to control stuff. So then I took a little bit more charge of the set, right? I started having the girl do stuff and shoot and angles and change some things. You should have seen their attitude change. It was like night and day. They were like, "Oh, that's great. That's great." So what I call shooting behind a person, they were like, I would call a shot and I would shoot it, and then they turn around and shoot my shot basically kind of over my shoulder. Yeah. You know, it wasn't their creative idea or anything. It's just that they stepped in and pushed the button, you know, like right behind you. So they were doing that. And then like at some point, one guy, I was going to change the set. And some guy was like, "Hold on." And they were like, "Hey, no, move out. She's still got 5 more minutes." I was like, that's when I knew I had won over all the guys on the set, because they wanted me to keep controlling the set because they love the shots. But the reality is they didn't think I could do it. Like you could tell, like you feel it, you know it. You can tell by the treatment. When I talk to people, when I tell people what I do, I'm very cool, laid back and stuff, whatever, you know. They're like, "Oh, well, yes, I've been published in Vogue Italia." And I was like, "Well, I was in Rolling Stone magazine, but you don't see me walking around going like, yeah, I got my picture up in Rolling Stone. You know, I've shot blah, 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 blah. I had little Scrappy's phone number in my phone, you know, like you don't see me just like walk around telling, oh yeah, I met Little John, Sean Paul and all the rest of them. Like I don't go around and actually telling people all this stuff. But yet there's a boastfulness, you know, that's going on. And I'm like, okay. So then they showed me some images. I'm like, they're cool, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I whip out, like, you know, I'm like, here, this is what I do. Like, I don't want to describe this what I do. And it's like, and it's like, bam. But I don't understand why it has to be like that. Like, I just, and I feel like it's mainly because we're women. Second, because we're Black women. It's even worse. Black women. Because I've talked to some women photographers who say the same thing. They're like, oh, yeah, we're just light shooters. We shoot out in the sun all the time, and we photograph happy kids holding daisies, and that's all we do. ASMP was the worst. I love ASMP as an organization. Yes, it's a media photographer group, right? I love them. I had gone to a couple. It's changed. Well, the last time I went has been a while, but the first time I went, I was like, I could not do this. It was such a lens envy. You know, they call it dick envy, but it's like lens envy. The bigger the lens, you know, like they had this thing. It was all this man club stuff, and just they didn't want. It was awful. And there was like 3 women. They were like, oh, and the guy comes up to me and goes, yes, we want more women to come. And I was like, well, maybe you guys should stop being such a douche all the time to all the women. Yes. Different, supposedly. I've been in a couple meetings like a while ago, and it was much better than that women president. So
let's talk about that, because I know we have, girl, we got like about 10 minutes. Okay, so let's talk about organizations real quick. So majority of the photography world has been like white men. We know that. And a lot of them are aging because we do get older, right? But times are changing. All around us, times are changing. So with these organizations that say they want to be more diverse, they want to bring in the new younger crowd to keep this thing going. What do you tell folks who are like, I want to join that, but sometimes if there's not a seat at the table, you like, you know what? Deuces, make my own damn table. Everybody come in and have a seat. Because you do find that when you join one of your own, there is a better sisterhood, brotherhood community because you all understand the stories that you're telling.
Okay, so yes and no. Well, so you got organizations like PPA, right? And I hated all their stuff for a long time. And obviously I'm a big fan. I've been a member for like 5-6 years now, whatever. I go to imaging and it's gotten better. But
it's how we met.
Like I hated it. It was like what I called old Olin Mills white guy club. It was not happening. But I would tell these people, hold on, because women are dominating photography and we're about to crush it. Okay. And as far as like diversity, I totally agree with you. There's actually a diversity chapter for PPA. And I went to one meeting at imaging and that was like one of the worst meetings. Had I known my friends were across the room, the text wasn't working right. Had I known that, we would have walked out and left. And sometimes I felt like they put the person in charge of it. Just was not a good representation of like Black photographers. And so it was just certain things that were going on in that meeting, which I'm going to leave alone. But so yeah, I think they try, but sometimes they don't really try. They just slap a Band-Aid on it and just hire the first person with the loudest mouth instead of getting the most qualified person.
Okay.
But yeah, as far as telling somebody, I'm saying, yeah, jump on, volunteer, because a closed mouth doesn't get fed, right? So
I agree.
I said a closed mouth doesn't get fed, right? So if you want it, get in there and get it. That's what you got to do. And they're not going to give it to you because they're comfortable. Everybody's comfortable. But
Everybody's comfortable.
I think that we're about to, like, women about to dominate photography.
I believe it's good to be in both. I do believe that you need to be part of the organizations that are already there to help create that diversity. I know it sucks to be the only one because a lot of us are going to be the only one. I know for myself, I'm in North Texas. I was looking at some of the local PPA guilds to join, and I'm closer to Fort Worth than I am to Dallas. But when you look at the photos of the members, you're kind of like, and who in there could I relate to? And I'm going to say this. It sounds that people say, why do you always have to put in Black so-and-so, like Black girl this or Black women this or Black? It's because, that shit matters, right? When people say, I don't see color, then you don't see the pains and the ills that I go through every day. Please don't act like this is Pollyanna out here. Like it's not Pollyanna out here, right? When I leave my house, I am hoping that I get back safe and okay. When we do road trips, and we are road trippers, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm sometimes like, are things great? When I was younger, I would get in my car and literally just drive. I drive to Memphis, Chicago, and wherever else by myself. Never had a concern. And then things changed. There was this shift in the air where if you were a single woman driving cross country by yourself, you might want to be concerned. So then you add that you're a single Black chick driving by yourself. Now you're like, I don't think I should even be out here. Right? Like things are not feeling so great. I'm not feeling so safe, right? So we have to be the only one sometimes.
Being the only one, you're speaking to somebody who was one of 6 Black people in the entire middle school. Okay?
Yeah.
I went to Farragut Middle School in Knoxville, Tennessee. There were 6 of us in the entire school, 3 in the same grade. That was it. I'm not even going to tell you the names and the stuff. The teachers were racist. there. My brother hated it. Oh, he hated his high school. I don't even know how many were in high school because my brother's 7 years older. But he had a hard time. I had a rough time with these folks. Oh, from the hair touching to there was always something. I was the first Black person to work for Precision Camera in Austin, Texas, by the way.
Oh my goodness,
That was
really?
in 2002, at the end of it was like September or November of 2002.
Huh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, and then I was the highest, second highest, because there's one guy who had more qualifications than I did. Person for the job. We did a group interview. There was 4 of us, right?
Huh.
So they didn't hire me at first. When they hired me, I got there, they had hired the 3 people before me. One girl had no photography classes. Her daddy owned a camera. Okay. So they took me with a BFA and put me in the photo lab in the front, not in the back, which I own a larger. I've been printing for years. Okay. Years. I started in high school. I was the only person who could print color in a lab. Right? Even though we're using the machines, I could actually go into a dark room and use the chemistry and print color. Okay. This is how I won the Texas Pell Grant Award. Okay. I mean, like I got the senior show. I was voted best of show. Okay. I did an art competition, made it in there, got something else. I mean, like I have never entered a jury show and not placed. And I got put in the photo lab front desk, standing up for 8 hours a day in a space the size of a desk because they needed a token Black girl to put out front, where they put all these other folks either working the machines or in sales or in the repair joint looking at the cameras. Never even operated a camera. Daddy owned one. and I had a minor in graphic design. Okay. And so there was a girl who didn't know that much about graphics who would run their ads, and she needed an assistant. And you know what they did? They pulled the girl whose daddy had owned a camera and had her be the assistant when I had a degree in video art. So trust me when I say sometimes you got to be the only one. Sometimes you just got to be the only one. Because I've been the only one.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be the only one. And I know that some of us don't like the idea, which is why I say, okay, so like if you do join these organizations where there isn't anyone who looks like you, because think about it, like we can, like if you were to say I don't see color, which is not a good thing, by the way, if you just went on experiences, life experiences, and things in common. Truly, the world is very much alike, and then we are different. Really, we are. Like, we are. But because we see with our eyes first, because we are those kinds of animals, then you do have to acknowledge that, yes, the world hasn't come that far. It hasn't been that long ago. As a matter of fact, we are still fighting for some very basic things. Even equal pay for women. We're fighting for civil rights, for just like all the basics. Like we have not come that far. So to make it sound as if, why do you guys have to always put Black this and Black that? Because shit ain't changed. That's why. It hasn't changed.
My husband is white. Obviously, that's my daughter back there. She's high yellow. And so he has a wood, he has a woodworking business. It's called Modern Wood. Check him out. He's on Instagram. And like I noticed how he deals with customers and how customers deal with him versus like how people deal with me. And he'll sit there and tell you, yeah, it's different. They take my word as gospel, and that's it. You know, because I see you having to fight for you. I see you having to fight and justify why you're doing X, Y, and Z, or you know, you always have to explain. Where I can walk up and be like, oh, well, you need to do this, and they'll be like, okay.
Yeah, it's a constant struggle. So we have to kick down those barriers. I know what time it is. We have to kick down those barriers and be the only one if necessary. But to make sure that your soul is full and supported, I also highly suggest joining an organization where you can find people who look like you.
Yeah.
Because you are sharing experiences.
Don't join it. And then if you're not first, well, if you aren't willing to be first, then somebody can't come behind and find people that look like them. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. So, like, we are still doing first. It's 2022, and we are still doing the first across the board. So somebody has to do it. So I say join both. I am part of PPA, just like you are. And then I am part of other organizations focused on Black women photographers. And I get my feel on both, right? Like you need to have all of it, not just everything is in this one place. And not everybody is built to be different, right? Like you said, like you were one of 6 kids, you said, Maxfield?
One of 6.
One of 6.
6.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
6. In entire school.
One of 6
I know, a couple thousand kids, like 1,000. Yeah. With an S. Yeah. S.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, it can create the thick skin to deal with it. Not that you want to deal with it, but if you had to, you can. And then others of us, like, I'd rather not bother to go down that path, and I'd rather and that's fine. Everybody has to pick their thing. I'm somewhere in the middle. Sometimes I'm kind of like, I'm just going to like knock some doors down. And other times I'm like, I don't feel like knocking down doors today. Because it gets tiring. It does get tiring. But we have to fight this fight. That's for darn sure. And again, the way that it is looking with technology and more people who are advocating for Black women photographers and having access to more resources as small businesses, being a woman and also a Black woman, things are shifting. They're clearly changing, but there's a lot of work to be done education-wise when it comes to the client.
I will say Fuji's doing a great job of it. I'm a Fuji shooter, but I was a Fuji shooter for years, but I love them even more now. So
people are recognizing it, and it's just it's a very slow. The wave of change does not happen very fast. It doesn't happen very fast at all. It takes a lot of time. And, I am here for whatever I can do for the good Lord takes me. I am here for it. And we'll just keep going. Hey, Julie, hey, we'll have to figure something out. By all means, we'll have to get like some sort of Zoom or Teams meeting or something. But there is so much work to be done in all the areas. And I say it again, it can either be your gender, it could be race, and there's so much work. We are still dealing with the first. But from where I'm speaking, as a Black woman photographer, I put it out there in all the stuff. It's like, yes, I'm a Black woman photographer. You should hire us Black women. And, you mentioned something that I'm good to come to San Diego. Girl, I'm a road trip, but that ain't nothing but like a quick hop and skip once I get out of Texas.
Family there.
Once we get out of Texas, you can never get out of Texas. You can get someplace.
It's 5 minutes out of Texas.
Right? We're like, and we're still here. Oh my God. Once you get out, you're like, oh shoot, I'm already in like New Mexico. Oh wait, yeah. So you kind of start moving once you get out of Texas. But I was just thinking, as you were talking about those men looking at you pose this young lady, we have a whole nother topic about like stealing of creative art.
Oh yeah. Yes. I got a great story on that one. Let me tell you.
I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Not gonna go there. But I'm gonna save it. But yeah. So much to do. Thank you, as always.
And I just want to say, just whenever people ask for a particular, I guess, idea from a photographer, just always ask yourself, is it off menu? Is it a substitution or is it off menu?
Yeah.
Those are 2 totally separate things.
2 totally separate things. Completely separate. I was just, before I came into this, I have a customer I have to call and figure out what he is looking for. And I get it. Like it's photography is so broad and so wide, and you cannot force someone to charge what you're charging, because people are like, well, if we all get on the same page, then it'll be easier. It will never be easy. It's like finding a mechanic, finding a dentist. It's like getting anything else. There is a variety of prices. People will pick what they want to pick, what they can afford to pick. I was watching Say Yes to the Dress. I don't even know why, because I'm married, but I just love seeing the stories. But this young lady had a budget of $1,500, which is fine. But she went to that store down there in Atlanta that Lori saw, and I was like, for the prize. Yeah, 1,500 is like, that may not get you much. So she just happened to try on a dress worth $5,000.
Would she pay like $500?
No, she didn't. She ended up paying like $3 because she fit the sample so well. Lori said, look, I will let you buy the sample at XYZ dollars, like $3,000 or something, because it fits you, but it's the sample, right? But she said, if you are a person who has champagne taste but a beer budget, you should not test drive a Mercedes when you can only afford to get a Kia.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, right. Yeah, because once she put the dress on, she was like, oh, I can't take this dress off, which is why we like to put things in people's hands. Because once she starts owning it.
Don't get mad at us because you like it that much. That's our job is to produce stuff that people like.
It is, right? Because who wants ugly work? Who wants ugly photos? It's like, here's the ugly photo. It's like, you paid for that? Yes, I did. Like, that's a whole new genre of work. Oh my goodness. Right. Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. So, Erica, thank you again. Thank you for giving me this hour. We'll have to probably do something in, I'm thinking, April's next month. I got little family travels coming up because I take time for my family. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be a grandma. We're gonna be a grandma again. Oh yeah. I know, right? So she was no kidding. No. Girl, we're not doing it. I don't think I can do it with the family. It's like, that's a no. Gwendolyn's like, no. I will help you find a good photographer. That's what I would help you do. I will not be that person to do it for you, though. But thank you for sharing this hour with me. So appreciate it. Clearly, these kinds of conversations are not a one and done because, I feel the environment is ripe for change. I feel it's ripe for it. The idea is you got to have people who are going to go out there, like I said, like kick down some doors and take advantage of some of these opportunities because, but it is a very slow wave of change. It's like snail pace.
Yeah.
Snail. But, I remain vigilant to it. I'm going to do my part by doing things like this. Do my part. So if you guys are in Austin, Erica, I tell you, man, she hooked you up. And check out her Instagram with the composite work that she did. It beautiful. First of all, I was like, oh my God, it's so cute. The little baby in the manger. It was so adorable. I was like,
last name was Farmer. I was just like, oh, I gotta do it. His last name was Farmer.
That was gorgeous. And I thought that's work. That is the work right there. But again, if you're going to hire someone like Erica to do things like that, please don't knock on her door with $150.
Yeah, no $10 images here. Just like there are no $10 bottles of glasses of wine today. Like, we don't do $10
bottles. No, not today. Not today. Not today. We're not doing the 10 bottles today. Although I do have a great idea to put together a good list of wines that are not going to break the bank. I mean, they do exist. People think, oh my God, you have to buy the most expensive. No, you don't.
You don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm going to send to you a YouTube show that's great. It's actually a Black show, and the guy has famous people guess the price range of the wines. Oh, it's hilarious. They had Kevin Hart on there, and I think he got like 2 of them right. But is
that the show by Bon Appetit? The guy has glasses. Is that the one, or is there another one? Because this is one guy. He's a great sommelier. I don't know. Maybe the same guy. I do
Yeah,
watch his because I'm just like, oh my God, it's so nice.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm totally gonna send that to you. But
Okay.
you know what?
Okay.
We got to get it together, and then maybe we'll get the wines, and maybe we'll do a photo shoot because I shoot product. So
You do shoot products.
so maybe we'll just set up some black wine, and we'll just live
Oh, that'll be
stream the
nice.
product shoot with all the because all the
Yeah. We can
wine.
do that. My fridge is looking kind of, well, it's not looking empty. It just looks like it's empty, but there's the fridges, the fridges are fine. Although I do feel I need to do a refill.
It's restocking time. That's it.
It's restocking time.
That's the perfect time to do it.
Oh, that it is. Because spring is upon us. The patio is almost ready. We're going to sit outside, have chicken and champagne, and that's the way to do it, people. Fried chicken and champagne, just in case you didn't know.
Yes.
It's the best combination ever. Best combo ever. Sweet. Oh, thank you, Erica. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We've got some more good stuff coming up this month, so I'm excited. But we'll pick up some more conversations by creators and all this other stuff probably in April.
All right. Sounds good.
Talk to you guys.
Bye.